Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jason, as most of you probably already know by now. The story I want to share with you all today is about my life-changing experience I've had just recently. And with this story, I want to try and encourage and inspire young people such as myself, and particularly young Aboriginal people, my people. I'm 22 years old. I grew up in a small town called Jabiru, situated about 250 kilometers east of Darwin, and population at around about 1,000 people. And I did all my schooling years out there. I was the school captain back in high school. I was also the vice captain for our rugby touch team we had for school. And I had a happy, sorry, I'll start again. I had a happy childhood. Yep. The happy childhood is still in me today. And two younger brothers who looked up to me as well. Everything was going good. But at the end of 2010, this is kind of where everything went a little bit off the rails for me. We moved into Darwin, a small community called 15 Mile Community. It's sort of on the outskirts of Darwin, like a rural area. And moved in with my grandmother, with my two younger brothers. My mom moved in with my grandfather. And Dad, he worked out at Bush. He worked as a tour guide at Bush. And this is where, like I said, everything went kind of downhill for me. I just left school. I didn't have a job. I was kind of on the dole. And I was really bored in the community, and I sort of didn't have anything to do. I was every bit of money that I got from our service providers, I'd just spend it on alcohol and drink and party up and really have a good time. But it was kind of really getting old, and I really wanted to make a change. So one day I was lying in my room and I was watching the fan on the ceiling, and I was thinking to myself, where am I going to go now? What am I going to do? Like, Jace, come on, you can't keep doing this. You gotta make a change. So I just had all these thoughts running through my head, and it was all negative stuff. So one day, my auntie, Valerie Tambling, who couldn't be here today to speak, she came to me. I was sitting at the back of my nan's place, and she handed me these pieces of paper. I thought to myself, pieces of paper. Okay, what's going on here? This is interesting, yeah. She said, here, Jace, have a read of this. So, okay, yep, no worries. So I was reading it, and I was reading the top paragraph, and it said, Indigenous Leadership Program. And all these thoughts, yes, Jason, this is your opportunity to do something. Get off your butt and do something. So I said, Auntie, this is pretty interesting. And she said, don't you interesting me. I want you to sign up and get off your butt and do something. And I think she kind of got sick of me just lazing around. My cousin also, he came with me on the program. His name is Lachlan, and he's sitting right over there. Hey, Lockie. Yeah. Yeah, so I really didn't have a choice. I said, okay, sign your life away, Jason. Oh, yeah. Yep, there you go. And my auntie put the application through, and we got chosen. Now, the program required us to go over to Borneo, Malaysia, for 10 weeks. We also met with 26 other Indigenous leaders from in different remote communities in the Northern Territory. So we all gathered in Darwin, and we all met. And at first, it was a bit awkward because, hello. Well, hello. And those are the only words you could get out of us. All sitting together, in this big room. And after a couple of weeks, we all started to really bond together. And end up finding out that most of the group was family. So it made this whole thing even more comfortable for us. So, but before we went to Borneo, we had to go down to Perth, Western Australia, to do a 3-week. So it's kind of like a bit of a trial run to try and so they give us a bit of a taste of what Borneo was going to be like. Oh, I tell you, it was nothing like Borneo. But I'll get to that in a second. So we went down to Perth and we trekked for 3 days and 2 nights out in bush. And yeah, bush, very familiar, but it was more cold down there. And by the end of the 3 days, we all wanted to kill each other. We just, we were all so frustrated with each other, not really listening to each other, yeah, it was kind of awkward. But we left after the 3 weeks we did down in Perth. We came back up to Darwin, and we all got back together again. And we had the Christmas break. And yeah, as we came back, most of the other Indigenous leaders, they sort of really backed out and didn't want to do the program anymore. And it kind of really wasn't good. 7 of us out of 27 ended up going. So we came back up, and the reason why most of them left was because of family problems and personal issues that they had to deal with. So that was a bit of a bummer. Came back, and now this is a funny story. Obtaining passports. Now you need 100 points to proof of ID so you can obtain passports, and it was just hectic. I mean, we came back up, and some of the guys in the group of the 7 that went over to Borneo, they had different last names from their birth certificates, and we had to get our parents' birth certificates as well. And they were all out in remote communities. They were hard to get to, and they had different last names as well. So we went to our service providers, and we went over to our bank to get bank statements. We went to our service providers, and we had to get references. We go back here, there, but yeah, it was all over the place. So yeah, but in the end, we ended up getting our passports. So yes, I'm pumped. And yeah, so we got all our passports, and now over to Borneo. And on the plane, first time, not on the plane, but leaving the country. And I felt like we were really stepping out of our comfort zone. This is a really big step for us. And we were representing Australia. And not only Australians, but Indigenous Australians as well. So we had a lot of weight on our shoulders to go over and complete the program. And I remember I was in the plane. And all these images of the show Air Crash Investigation. So all episodes I've ever watched are passing through my head and thinking, oh no, what am I gonna do? But I survived. I didn't have a nervous breakdown or a mental crisis on my hand. Yeah. But we went over and we met 108 other venturers, as they called us, and they were from all over the world. We all met, and we had 9 different projects we had to do for that 10 weeks that we were over there. And for the first week, we had to train and learn how to use radios and how to set up the antennas, so in case of emergency out in the jungle. And for the first week, my cousin and I, Lachlan, we went to a place called Sepilok. And Sepilok had a conservation center for orangutans and sun bears. And for one of the projects we had to do was build a boardwalk for the guys who are looking after the sun bears, so they could go around and look after them better, because it's just so muddy. It was knee deep in mud. We were working, and yeah, we. I remember we were having lunch one day, and we were sitting there, oh yes, feed about time after a hard day's work in the morning, and mind you, sardines and crackers. That's just what we had for lunch over there. It was terrible. But yeah, I was sitting down, and I was like, sitting next to my cousin Lachlan, and we were sitting there, and we noticed these monkeys, wild, untamed monkeys. There was a whole group of them, about 30 or 40 of them, and I was sitting next to my cousin. I was like, hey, cuz, look over there. Monkeys. And the guy, he was looking after us. He said, oh, those are macaques. Okay, yep, type of monkeys are macaques. So I was sitting there. I was like, oh, interesting. I looked over to a cousin, hey, you see the monkey over there? He looks like you, doesn't he? So we're goofing around, joking around. And I think the monkeys might have got offended. They turned around and they started walking towards us. I was like, oh, okay. So I was sitting there and they were coming, and they were coming. And on the railing where we were having our lunch, our monkey jumped up and he was watching us. As soon as he jumped up, I was like, hey guys, what are we gonna do? I don't know. This is the first time I've ever seen monkey distract. So we were standing there like sitting there for about a minute. We were just watching this monkey. And the guide, he mentioned to us, when they show signs of aggression, they do this. So we were just waiting for that to start happening. So we're sitting there, and then he starts doing it. And I get up and I grab all our lunch and we go to the other side of the room. It was crazy. First encounter with a monkey. Seriously, I thought he was going to come up and hump my leg. And the next story coming up, me and my cousin, we got... this one is going to be a bit of a laugh. I remember one morning I got up and our project site was a 40-minute walk away, and I needed to go to the toilet. And what we had at our campsite was just a hole in the ground called the long drop. So this was after a big storm too. So I went and I seen the long drop and I thought, oh my God. Mind you, I had to do a number 2. I was looking at the hole, I'm thinking, nah, if I'm going to go next to it, I'm going to fall in it. So I just said, nah, I'm going to wait 40 minutes, go down the road. Yep. So we started walking, and 40 minutes later, we got to a project site. And at the project site, they have public toilets, air-conditioned public toilets. Oh, man, it was like luxury out there. So I went in, and there was one toilet left. I think all the other ones were, they had people in it. And I went in, and I just got comfortable now, just about to do my thing. Sigh of relief. I opened my eyes, and I noticed something. Like, oh, no, please. So I slightly looked down. Ah! There was a leech on my toilet seat. So I'm sitting there looking at the leech. Oh, my God. And because leeches don't have eyes, they sense body heat. So he's there trying to get towards me. Every time he wiggles, I'd move. He'd wiggle, I'd move. I'll try and get comfortable in the seat. No. He wiggles, I move. But after a few minutes of that, I get up and I was like, nah, I can't do this. I got up, I was standing at the leech and I was like, mate, you know what? You really ruined the moment, eh? So I ended up getting back to work. And this next story, this is kind of where I hit an obstacle in my whole journey. This was kind of a bit like the low of my experience. I was in a village called Mandurrian Laut. My cousin and I, we separated by then. So I went over to the village, and Kim, who's the lady who took us over and looked after us, is that lovely lady over there sitting down. And she ended up visiting me during the 3 weeks I was there. And she came out, and I asked her, hello, Kim, is everything okay? So how's family back home? And I could just tell by this look on her face, she was carrying bad news for me. So as soon as I asked that question, she didn't really give me a straight answer. She sort of was looking down, looking around, and she's like, yeah, no, everything's all right. It's like, nah, well, something's up, Kim. What's the matter? Well, it's better if you call your cousin, Lachlan, and Lachlan was on the other side of Malaysia on another project. And she gave me her satellite phone, and I called Lachlan, and I asked Lachlan, so what's going on? What's the matter? I could hear his voice. He was really croaking, and he was he said to me, Jace, I got a bit of bad news for you. I was like, what happened back home? He's like, we lost one of our uncles. He passed away back home, and that's when this really, like, someone punched me in the stomach, and I just wanted to fall to the ground, and just, I felt really bad. All the negative stuff that's happened before really sunk into me, and I didn't want to be there anymore. I wanted to come straight home. As soon as my cousin told me, I wanted to give everything up and just come straight back home. Homesickness really sunk into me, and yeah, and it was a bad moment. But my cousin told me, Jason, just stick it out, man. Call Auntie Valerie, and she'll talk to you. I said, okay. So I hung up. As soon as I hung up, I started crying, burst into tears. I was really crying. I mean, it was bad. And after I finished crying, I called my auntie, and I asked her, Auntie, is it okay if I can come home? She said, no. No matter what happened here back home, you stay there and you look after your cousin, Lachlan. I said, okay, I'll stay. And she said, you stay there and you finish what you've started. You finish the program, then you come back home and see family. I said, okay, I'll stay here and I'll look after my cousin, Lachlan. But he doesn't know that he's looked after me more than I've looked after him. And I'm letting him know that now. And I ended up finishing the program, my cousin and I, and now I'm a radio broadcaster. I have a flat of my own, who I'm sharing with Lachlan, my first flat. And basically what I'm trying to say is, and the moral of my whole story is that no matter who you are or where you are, if you want to get something done, and if you want to get up and make a change for yourself, then it's up to you to make that change. You will have support, and you will not be alone. Because I thought I was alone, but I had friends over from the other side of the world helping me. And I didn't know these people. So if you have that I can attitude and I can do it attitude, then you can achieve what you desire. Thank you.